What's going on, guys? This is Danny from Slow Restoration, and we are in the Escalade today. We've actually made some really good progress on this. Like I said, when we bought it, we'll go over all the little things that are wrong and the normal little things that go wrong with this platform of GM vehicle. There's usually nothing really major, just a bunch of little nagging things. Anyway, we are driving in it, as you can see. So we are actually on our way to the new Turbo GMC build, and we're gonna start that off today. So far, the only thing we did is baseline it and gather a bunch of parts for this thing. So we have a bunch of parts lined up. We're still waiting on a couple other things, but we have enough to definitely kick it off today. The first two things we're gonna do to that truck are, one, since I've gotten so many questions on it, is we're gonna install the MSD two-step on that truck also, and I'll go over in a little bit more detail, actually hooking it up inside the truck. I know I've gotten a ton of questions on that, and everyone's really dying to see which wire goes where. So it's very, very simple, but we'll show it. And the second thing is we're going to be doing a Transco HD2 shift kit in the 4L80 that's going in that truck. We have another transmission, a good transmission. It's already out, so we're going to do the shift kit out of the truck, which will speed up the process of installing later. So it's probably going to get separated into two videos. All right, guys, we are here with the new Turbo GMC, and like I said, we're gonna install the MSD two-step. It is super easy. If you can't do this install, you really probably shouldn't be working on a car. I'm just kidding about that, but it is really that easy. So my truck, I mounted up here. We're gonna grab a nut and a washer to attach to that stud. It does have dials on the side here. That's how you adjust what RPM your shift, your two-step activates. Two wires out of the side. We'll get to these later. We have the harness here. At the end of the harness, it's extremely simple. So obviously, it doesn't matter which bank these go to, but since we're mounted there, we'll use the shorter side on this bank and obviously the longer side on that bank. We'll run this back behind and zip tie all of this up once we get it done. But for right now, let's we'll start on this side. It's really, like I said, extremely simple, easy. We're gonna pull the safety tab out. I'll get up there in a second. We'll pull the safety tab out, pull the connector off. So there's a main harness that plugs into the sub harness for your coil packs. We'll unplug that, and then this just plugs in to either end. So once you unplug that, the end you unplug will plug in to this side, and then this side will plug into your sub harness on your coil packs. This MSD step is part number 8733, and this will work on any LS motor. From a 4.8 to an LS7 to an LS9. So this will work on, that's another question I got a lot on my last install. What will this work on? Anything that is LS based, this will work on. All right, guys, I got the safety pulled out. We'll lift up this and slip the connector off. Again, this is the main harness from the car. Down here is at the coil pack. Let me flip that back. Here's the sub harness that's mounted to the coil mounting bracket. We have our MSD harness routed to this side, and again, extremely simple. We're going to plug this side in, snap it in. You can hear it click. There's the click. We'll put our safety pin back in. Actually, we won't, because there's not one there. It's on this end. So this is, again, from the main harness. We'll go right down and clip into this side of the MSD harness. It's So once we get that snapped in, we'll put our safety pin back in, and this side is completely done. We'll move over to this side and do the exact same thing. On to this side. Let me get the... All right, now we got plenty of light. We'll pull the safety out. Pull the locking tab. Now we have our harness unplugged. We'll pull it up out of the way for the time being. We have our MSD harness that just fell down. And we're gonna take the male end, plug it into the sub harness on the coil pack. Listen for the click. And the female end, the main harness plug for the coil pack, will plug right into that. Once that's snapped in, again, we'll take our safety and put it back in and lock that end. And that, again, we'll zip tie all this up. Unfortunately, this motor's getting ready to come apart. We're doing the build on it, so we're gonna do the, it's getting Texas speed heads, cam, and the whole deal, but we are gonna do this two-step and clarify from my last video. So we'll zip tie all this up nice and neat, but for right now, this is good enough. We have our box mounted here. Again, we're gonna run a nut and a washer on there just to keep it tight. And there's one more wire to hook up, and it's really as simple as that. So we have two leads here, and I'll look at the directions. We have a blue and white stripe, actually a white with a blue stripe. Solid blue and white with a blue stripe. So this is the last wire we have to hook up, and we got to decide which way we're going to use it. So blue, solid blue is for ground. White with the blue stripe is for 12 volt positive. Now you can use any way you want. We're gonna go with an interrupting switch. We're gonna go right to the brake switch. So we can either choose the grounding part of it, or we can choose the 12 volt power side of it. We can decide that later. This is the same plug. So we're gonna plug our harness. It's a one wire harness with just one wire with a plug. So we're going to plug it into one of them. We're probably going to use the grounding side of it. So we'll use the ground, and then over here there's a spot on the firewall on these Chevy trucks. See if we can reach down there, get the light set so I can reach down there. So there is a spot right here, and we'll run our wire through there, run it inside the cab, and then we'll hook it up to the appropriate spot on the brake switch. And I know this is the step everyone had questions, you know, where do you actually hook that one wire? So we're gonna show you. All right, so we're on the inside of the truck, obviously. Here's the grommet I was talking about. If we push that through, it's just one wire that runs through it. There's a rubber block with a split. We're going to pull that out. This wire, or this grommet, we're going to actually puncture a hole, enlarge the hole in the center here, puncture that so we can get more wires. We're going to run this wire through, but we also have a lot more. We have a boost gauge. We got air fuel ratio gauge, a lot more to run through here. So for right now, we're just gonna get that line run through. We'll pop this back in, and then I'll show you where to hook it up on the brake controller. All right, now we have our slice in there. We're actually gonna pop this back into the firewall. Let me get this popped back in, and then it's just as simple as running that wire through. All right, so as you can see, I think you can see, there's a blue wire is running through. So I'm gonna reach up in there and grab that wire and just fish it the rest of the way through. Here we go. So we are inside the cab now. All right, so this is the part where everyone had question. Which wire did I actually hook to on this brake switch? right here is your brake switch. Here's your wiring harness coming out of it. Here's my test light. So if we touch this white one and I hit the brake pedal, as you can see, the test light is lighting up. So that is a 12-volt power source when you hit your brake pedal. So that's the one we're going to use. So with that being said, here's a wire coming in from the outside. We're going to plug that into the MSD box, the white with the blue stripe. And we're going to put an interrupting switch in this so we can turn the system on and off. And we're going to mount that to the bottom of the dash. There's a piece of metal here. We're going to drill a hole and put a rocker switch. So this wire will come over to the rocker switch, out of the rocker switch, back over to this white wire here on your brake switch harness. All right, so this next step, we know we're using that white wire there. This is a T-tap of sort, but it's actually a pretty good quality, and it's going to be inside the vehicle here. So the MSD actually supplies this. How it works, it has an end on it, which we already took apart. We'll unscrew this. We'll slide this over the white wire and just thread this back in. It has a spot where it punctures the wire and tightens up on it. Let's do that, and then we'll show you how to hook that blue wire. All right, guys, we got the truck started up and warmed up, and you know what that means. We're getting really close to starting it or trying this out. So we have our switch pulled down here just so I can show you how it's hooked up. This wire comes from the MSD. You can see it moving around there. Goes through the firewall, into the switch, back out of the switch, and we have our length of wire here. I'm laying on it, that we're gonna run up and hook to the other end of that T-tap. So when this is activated, and we're on the brake, it'll send power to the MSD box and activate our two-step. As soon as we let off the brake or flip this switch, we will kill that power source and it'll release the two-step. Let's get this hooked up, let the motor get a little heat in it, and we'll try it out. One last step here in hooking this blue wire up. We have our wire stripped. We have the nut part slipped onto the wire, and we'll take and thread this in with the wire touching the inside here. There you go. And then just tighten that nut up and we are done. All right, guys, we are ready to test this, and right before we do need to adjust our dials here. So we have our screwdriver, and we're just going to set this nice and low. We'll do 2,000 RPMs to start with. Just make sure it's going to work. All right, guys, so I was trying to figure out which one did what, and it just so happens it tells you right on the front here. So the bottom dial is thousands and the top one is hundreds. So now we have it set at 2200. Let's try it out and see if it works. All right, guys, so we're gonna hit this rocker switch to on. We're gonna step on the brake and watch our RPM gauge. There it is. We hit the rocker switch to off. We're still on the brake. Goes right past. So we flip the rocker switch back on. We're gonna hold the brake. We're on the rev limiter. As soon as we let off the brake, revs right up. So, all right, guys, we are activated. My foot's on the brake. Foot off the brake. We are two-stepping. All right, guys, so to do a recap, you're hooking to, on this particular truck, it may vary on your application, but you're going to find the brake light, the brake switch harness. And you can either use ground or 12 volt. We chose to use 12 volt. You're going to find that wire, and that's how you're going to hook this up. Extremely simple. We still have to go back over and zip tie everything up. Like I said, this motor is actually getting ready to come all apart to do our Texas speed kit, cam, heads, all that. And eventually we'll be getting a turbo also. So this is step one with our two-step. there you have it, guys. Hopefully that answers all the questions on MSD two-step on a Chevy truck, and pretty much any other application, like I said. So thanks for tuning in. Have a good day. All right, guys, we're here at Pristine Auto Detail, and they are all finished up with the Turbo GMC. And there it is. It's actually looking really good. I'm really impressed at how much different it looks without the side steps, without the side trim, none of the badging, none of the emblems on, no bug shield, no vent visors.